Have you ever felt the pressure to impress people who don't really matter? Have you caught yourself comparing your life to others, wondering if you're falling behind? Or maybe you've tried to keep everyone happy, only to feel drained and lost in the process. If that sounds familiar, this video is for you. Today we're talking about how to own your lane, building success without envy, without approval seeking, and without wasting your energy on the wrong battles. But before we dive in, make sure to subscribe and join this journey of self-improvement, because every day we explore powerful strategies to help you live with clarity, strength, and purpose. 1. Letting go of people-pleasing. One of the biggest traps that holds people back is people-pleasing. It feels harmless at first. You say yes when you want to say no, you adjust your choices to avoid conflict, and you play the role others expect of you. But over time, people-pleasing steals your voice, your time, and your energy. You stop living for yourself and start existing for others. It's like handing over the pen of your life story and letting other people write chapters that don't even reflect who you are. At first, it might seem like you're keeping the peace, but deep down, you're sacrificing your authenticity for temporary approval. True success begins when you stop asking, "What will they think of me?" and instead ask, "What do I think of me?" You can't build a life of fulfillment if you're always editing yourself to fit someone else's expectations. People-pleasing might win you temporary approval, but it will never bring lasting respect. Approval is fragile. One wrong move, and it disappears. Respect, however, is earned by standing firm in your truth, even when it's unpopular. The moment you stop trying to satisfy everyone, you begin to reclaim your freedom. Freedom to say no without guilt, freedom to walk away from what doesn't serve you, and freedom to live in alignment with your values. People-pleasing often comes from a fear of rejection or abandonment. Somewhere along the line, many people learned that love and acceptance had to be earned through compliance. The child who tried to keep their parents happy grows into the adult who struggles to set boundaries. The problem is that living like this creates resentment. You might smile on the outside, but inside you feel drained, overlooked, and even angry that your needs are always secondary. This inner conflict is the real cost of people-pleasing. It disconnects you from yourself. The antidote is self-respect. To let go of people-pleasing, you must first learn to please yourself. That doesn't mean being selfish in the negative sense. It means honoring your truth, your energy, and your limits. When you start prioritizing your own well-being, you'll notice something surprising. The right people will respect you more, not less. The wrong people, the ones who benefited from your silence and compliance, may resist, but their resistance only reveals that they were never aligned with your true self in the first place. Letting go of people-pleasing requires courage. It's not easy to disappoint others, especially if you've spent years molding yourself into what they wanted you to be. But every time you say no to something that drains you, you say yes to something that matters more. Every time you stand your ground, you strengthen the foundation of your identity. Over time, you'll realize that people-pleasing wasn't kindness. It was self-abandonment. Real kindness flows from wholeness, not from sacrificing your own needs to avoid disapproval. To live authentically, you must accept that not everyone will like you, and that's okay. In fact, being disliked by some is evidence that you are finally living honestly. Think about the people you admire most: leaders, creators, innovators. None of them became who they were by pleasing everyone. They became who they are by pleasing their conscience, by following their calling, and by refusing to trade authenticity for acceptance. When you let go of people-pleasing, you stop being a character in someone else's script and start becoming the author of your own story. 2. Trusting your vision. Once you let go of the need to please, the next step is learning to trust your own vision. The world will always have opinions about what you should do, where you should go, and how you should live. But no one else can see your dream the way you can. Others may give advice based on their perspective, their fears, or their limitations, but your vision is uniquely yours. It is like a seed planted in your soul. Only you can feel its roots. Only you can imagine the tree it will become. If you wait for validation before taking action, you'll wait forever, because most people won't see the possibility until you've already built it. Trusting your vision means betting on yourself even when others don't understand. It means having the courage to take a different path, to embrace risk, and to follow what feels right deep inside. Sometimes this path will feel lonely because few people can see what you see. But loneliness is not a sign you're wrong. It's often a sign you're ahead. The greats didn't succeed because everyone approved of them. They succeeded because they believed in something long before the world caught up. Visionaries like innovators, artists, and leaders were often ridiculed before they were celebrated. The same may happen to you, but if you wait for consensus, you'll lose the very edge that makes your dream powerful. Your vision is your compass. Don't let anyone else hold it for you. This means learning to silence the noise of comparison and external judgment. In a world full of distractions, it's easy to doubt yourself by measuring your path against others. But remember, comparison blinds you to your own gifts. Your journey doesn't have to look like anyone else's. Your timing doesn't have to match the world's schedule. When you stay anchored to your vision, you can weather the doubts, the delays, and the detours without losing faith in where you're going. Of course, trusting your vision doesn't mean ignoring wisdom or constructive feedback. It means filtering advice through your inner compass. Some feedback will sharpen your vision, some will try to distort it. The challenge is to discern the difference. Trust doesn't mean stubbornness, it means confidence with discernment. A true visionary knows how to listen without being swayed, how to adapt without compromising the essence of their dream. This balance between openness and conviction is what turns fragile ideas into unstoppable movements. Many people never see their vision through because they surrender it at the first sign of resistance. They trade their dream for safety, their calling for conformity. But safety is an illusion if it costs you your soul. The regret of abandoning your vision will weigh heavier than the risk of pursuing it. That's why trusting your vision is not just about ambition, it's about integrity. To betray your vision is to betray yourself. To honor it, even when it's difficult, is to live with authenticity and courage. When you fully trust your vision, life takes on new meaning. Obstacles stop looking like stop signs and start looking like tests of faith. Doubt becomes fuel for deeper conviction. Every step forward becomes a declaration. I believe in this. I believe in me. Trusting your vision doesn't guarantee an easy road, but it guarantees a fulfilling one. Because even if the world never understands, you'll know you stayed true to the call that only you could hear. And that, in the end, is real success.
3. Staying consistent through criticism. Even when you believe in yourself, criticism will come. People will doubt you, laugh at you, or tell you it's impossible. And if you aren't prepared, that criticism can break your focus. The key is consistency, showing up day after day, regardless of the noise. Consistency isn't glamorous. It's not about big leaps, but steady steps, taken even when no one's watching. It's about proving to yourself, through repetition and discipline, that you are serious about your path. The world often underestimates those who stay the course, but time has a way of revealing who was truly committed. Consistency is more powerful than talent, more reliable than luck, and more respected than quick success. Talent may open doors, but without consistency, it fades. Luck may give you a chance, but without consistency, it slips away. Quick success may look impressive, but without consistency, it crumbles under pressure. What separates the great from the average isn't a single breakthrough. It's the ability to keep showing up long after others have quit. When you stay consistent through criticism, you prove to yourself that no one's opinion controls your progress. You build resilience, and resilience is the secret ingredient to any lasting achievement. Remember, the strongest trees grow against the wind. Every bit of resistance you face is a chance to grow stronger. Criticism, instead of being a roadblock, can become a sharpening tool. When people doubt you, they force you to clarify why you're doing what you're doing. When they mock you, they challenge you to develop thicker skin. When they try to discourage you, they unwittingly test your commitment. If you let criticism refine you rather than define you, it becomes an ally in disguise. What was meant to break you, instead, builds you. Consistency through criticism also requires patience. Progress is rarely immediate. While you're putting in the work day after day, others may scoff because they can't yet see the results. But consistency always compounds. Just like drops of water eventually carve valleys into stone, small daily actions eventually create monumental results. The critics may not see the value of your work now, but when the results speak, they won't be able to deny it. By then, the very people who doubted you might be the ones asking how you did it. Another reason consistency matters is that it builds trust, not just with others, but with yourself. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, you reinforce your belief in your own reliability. You stop being swayed by external noise because you've proven again and again that you can depend on your own discipline. This self-trust is priceless. It's what allows you to stay calm under pressure, to keep moving forward when others quit, and to hold on to your vision when the world tells you to let it go. In the end, criticism is inevitable, but defeat is optional. You don't control what others say, but you control how you respond. Consistency is your shield. It protects your dream from the arrows of doubt, from the storms of judgment, and from the winds of discouragement. Every day you choose consistency, you choose growth, strength, and progress. And when the noise finally fades, what will remain is the undeniable evidence of your persistence. That is how ordinary people achieve extraordinary results, not by silencing the critics, but by outlasting them.
4. Protecting your mental energy. Your energy is one of your most valuable resources, and you have to protect it. Think of energy like a reservoir. You wake up each day with a finite amount, and how you use it determines the quality of your experience. Every argument you avoid, every distraction you cut off, every toxic influence you distance yourself from, that's energy saved for your vision. Too many people waste their strength trying to fight every battle or prove every point, not realizing that in doing so, they are emptying their reservoir on things that will never truly matter. The greatest mistake you can make is thinking that your energy is limitless. It is not. Once spent, it doesn't return easily, and sometimes the recovery from being drained can take weeks, months, or even years if you are not vigilant. Protecting your energy, then, is not simply an act of self-care, it is an act of survival, a form of discipline, and perhaps the most important investment you will ever make. Protecting your mental energy means choosing peace over unnecessary chaos. It means resisting the urge to argue when you know the discussion is going nowhere. It means knowing when to engage and when to walk away, and recognizing that not every fight is worth the scars it will leave behind. Not everything requires a reaction. Not everyone deserves your time. The person who tries to bait you into constant drama does not deserve your focus, just as the endless stream of notifications does not deserve to dictate your day. Guard your focus like treasure, because it is the fuel that powers your growth. Think of your attention as sunlight. Wherever it falls, things grow. If you constantly shine it on weeds, then weeds will flourish in your life. But if you direct it with intention, carefully choosing where to invest it, you will see the gardens of your dreams flourish. Energy is not about how much you have, it's about how wisely you use it. People often confuse busyness with productivity, but busyness is one of the greatest thieves of energy. You can fill your days with endless activity, yet feel hollow inside because none of it moves you closer to your true purpose. Protecting your energy requires brutal honesty with yourself. Which commitments are worth keeping and which are draining you without return? Which relationships inspire growth and which are slow leaks on your spirit? The hard truth is that energy vampires exist in many forms, sometimes as people who always need but never give, sometimes as endless scrolling through feeds designed to keep you distracted, sometimes as inner critics that whisper doubts louder than encouragement. The discipline of energy protection is learning to recognize these leaks and patch them before they drain you completely. It is about creating boundaries, not as walls to keep the world out, but as filters that let in only what strengthens you. Ultimately, protecting your mental energy is about clarity. It is the recognition that not every battle is yours to fight, not every invitation deserves your presence, and not every demand must be met. When you learn this, you free yourself from the tyranny of constant reaction, and you step into the sovereignty of deliberate action. The Stoics taught that external events are beyond our control, but our response to them is always ours. Protecting energy is exactly that, the mastery of response, the refusal to bleed yourself dry for things that have no bearing on your deepest values. When you live this way, you begin to move with intention instead of impulse. You walk lighter, not because life has less weight, but because you no longer carry what was never yours to hold. In this way, protecting your mental energy is not just a strategy for success, it is a philosophy for living well.
5. Living life on your terms. At the end of the day, real success is not about applause, wealth, or status. Those things, while seductive, often fade as quickly as they arrive. Applause stops the moment you leave the stage. Wealth can vanish overnight. Status is fragile, always dependent on the shifting opinions of others. Real success, however, is something deeper. It is about alignment. It is about living a life that reflects your values, your purpose, and your truth. When you own your lane, you stop competing with others and start competing with who you were yesterday. The comparison game ends, and the journey inward begins. Success is no longer measured in trophies or titles, but in authenticity and integrity. Are you living in a way that honors your soul? Are you walking a path that feels like yours, even if no one else understands it? These are the questions that matter. Living on your terms means living with such alignment that when you look in the mirror, you recognize yourself fully, without disguise or pretense. Living life on your terms is not about rejecting the world. It's about creating a world within yourself that no one can take away. It is the realization that freedom is not granted by external circumstances, but cultivated in the inner sanctuary of your mind. Even in restrictive environments, even when life throws challenges, you can hold on to your authenticity and live in alignment with your values. That is true sovereignty. It is freedom. It is authenticity. It is waking up every morning knowing you are living by design, not by default. Too many drift through life as passengers, carried by the currents of expectation, tradition, or fear. They conform to scripts handed to them by society, family, or culture, without ever asking if the script was written for them. To live on your terms is to take the pen back. It is to write your own story,
to choose your own role, and to reject any part of the narrative that doesn't resonate with your truth. This choice does not mean life will be easy. In fact, living authentically often invites resistance, criticism, and misunderstanding. People may not understand why you walked away from the path that everyone else chose. They may resent your refusal to play the game of appearances. But the discomfort of being misunderstood is far lighter than the burden of living a life that isn't yours. To live on your terms requires courage. The courage to disappoint others in order to be loyal to yourself. The courage to endure solitude if it means staying true to your path. The courage to face uncertainty because your heart knows it cannot thrive in falsehood. Courage is the cost of authenticity, and authenticity is the currency of freedom. When you embrace this, you begin to see that every compromise of your soul is too expensive, no matter what reward it promises in return. Living life on your terms is also a practice of presence. It is choosing to immerse yourself in the life you have, rather than endlessly chasing the life you think you should have. It is about gratitude for the now, while still striving for what aligns with your growth. It is about knowing that success is not something far off in the distance, but something lived daily in the choices you make. Did you honor your values today? Did you act with integrity? Did you refuse to betray yourself for approval? These are the questions that measure a life well lived. And when you practice this daily, life ceases to feel like an endless race. It becomes instead a deeply personal journey, one that you walk at your own pace, with your own rhythm, in your own way. That is the essence of living life on your terms, not rebellion for the sake of rebellion, but alignment for the sake of peace.
So remember this: stop people-pleasing, trust your vision, stay consistent through criticism, protect your mental energy, and live life on your terms. That's how you own your lane. You don't need envy, you don't need constant approval, and you don't need to prove yourself to anyone but you. Your path is yours alone. Walk it with confidence. If this message spoke to you, hit that subscribe button, share this with someone who needs it, and keep building the life you know you're capable of. The world doesn't need another copy. It needs your authentic self. Own your lane, and the rest will follow.